Westlake Landfill.
Next line, right?
Hello, everyone. If you guys could maybe squeeze together a little bit, like there's empty seats between you. I know it's hot, but we need to kind of squeeze together and open up some more seating.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Chantel Jones, former state representative of District 67. You all may have known me by Chantel Nixon Clark. And it is an honor and a pleasure to serve and be before you all tonight. We are very proud of the passage of RECA, the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. But I want to let you know that on tomorrow, I will be celebrating 3 years cancer-free for the second time. When I was elected, I made a vow to this community to fight for Coldwater Creek, to bring forth the admittance of the government poisoning us. We have lost loved ones, and some of us are here today and still fighting. And so today, this win is for you. This win is for your loved ones. This win is for Jana Elementary. This win is for the whole. It's okay to clap. We're family. This win is for the whole entire North County. Just a little bit, I lost my mom to breast cancer, my aunt to breast cancer, grandfather pancreatic cancer, 2 cousins are breast cancer survivors, 2 cousins that have passed away from rare kidney diseases, a cousin that had a brain tumor, cancerous brain tumor. So it's not about a title for me. It is solely for you and I. So we won't be before you long. We will run through quite a bit of information tonight. And we ask that you be respectful. We're going to open up the floor. And mainly we know that this community has been hurting for so long. We know that we have been silenced for so long. So I would ask that you extend all of us, elected officials and Just Moms, and this whole entire staff up here, extend us some grace and be respectful. So without further ado, I would first like to thank Mayor Laurie for answering every one of my calls and providing us with the space tonight. We have seating for over 500 people. And they're still coming in. So without further ado, I would like to pass the microphone to Mayor Tim Laurie.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to speak not as your mayor, but as someone who's lived in this community and shares the exact same concerns as you all do. I lost my mom to cancer. While we may never know the exact cause, I believe in my heart that it was tied to where we lived. The creek was in our neighborhood, and the silent threats we did not know were around us. I personally went to Jana Elementary School. Unfortunately, as a young man, I played in Coldwater Creek. That story isn't just mine. It's shared by so many in our community. We grew up near this radioactive material, near the danger that was invisible and often ignored. We've often been told not to worry, or that one day it'll be cleaned up and handled properly. The Radioactive Exposure Compensation Act, RECA, is more than a bill. It is recognition of what we've been through and a step in the right direction enforced in North County. But as we all know, the work is not done. There are still zip codes missing, still families are suffering, still diseases and cancers that are not listed. We plan to work until everyone is represented. I'd like to personally thank all the people who have worked so hard making sure the right people in Washington, D.C. knew about this and pushed forward. Creating change like this is never easy, and it's tiresome work. Thank you for all that help make sure that Forest and North County got what they deserve. We must push for every voice to be heard, for every diagnosis to matter, for every community, including ours, to be fully seen and protected. As far as actions taken right now, the Department of Justice on their website still says, quote, the department is reviewing the amendments of RECA and will provide additional guidance as it becomes available. Claimants are encouraged to wait until additional guidance is published before filing a claim. End of the quote. However, in the meantime, I strongly suggest that we gather all our documents, receipts, and proof. The more documentation you have, the easier it will be to prove your case when the time comes to apply. This is personal to me, for my family, for yours, and as your mayor, I won't stop fighting until we get full justice and recognition that our community deserves. Thank you.
And now we will have the welcome by our councilwoman of District 4, Shalonda Ware.
Good evening, everyone. Come on, it's been a long day, but good evening, everybody. Good evening. I am so grateful to see you're finally getting the recognition that you didn't want, but you rightly deserved. It has been a long time coming. I am not a native of St. Louis, but I've been here for 20 plus years, and I've been working on behalf of this community every step of the way. And so tonight is not about all of the elected officials. It's not about who did what. It's about you. It's about North County finally getting heard, but it didn't happen on its own. I have to make sure that we recognize, and we will be talking about them all night, Ms. Dawn Chapman. Please give a round of applause. Ms. Karen Nickel. And Dr. Chantel Jones. Every step of improvement was given by sacrifice. Let me tell you how much sacrifice. When their own children or loved ones needed them, they still went and championed on your behalf. When Dawn could have been by the bedside of her family member, she was in D.C. fighting for us. None of this happened overnight. It has been years in the making. And it is disrespectful that it has taken this long. But I will focus on the positive. The positive is this. No monetary compensation will bring back your loved one. Understand, we know that. And those who are still fighting the medical challenges to this day, all the reimbursement in the world is still not going to make you whole. But what is important is that the government acknowledge that I did you wrong, that I did North County wrong, and that the government take full responsibility in acknowledging that. Those dollar signs won't make you whole, but that acknowledgement means that when they told you, oh, it's okay, and you kept making noise, when they said, you don't need more signage, and you kept complaining, when they told you, oh, we're cleaning it up, and it's still more work to be done, they acknowledge the wrong. And it takes a community like us to come together and stand with each other in solidarity to let them know that we will not be overlooked, we will be respected, and we will be given what is just due. I thank you all for taking time tonight to be here with us, to learn. Now, what is my purpose for standing before you today? I'm just here that no foolishness take place. That's it. County will stand with these leaders and the mayor of Florence and all the others that are impacted to let you know that we don't have time for the foolishness, give the people the help that they need, and ensure that no scams are run on anybody. That's all I'm here for. To make sure you're taken care of with respect and justice. So you know me, an old Southern girl, but I'll make noise when noise needs to be made, and I will hold all governments at all levels responsible and accountable to us. That is why I serve you. But I don't serve in a silo. I have and I see other elected officials that are standing in solidarity with us. I don't see everybody, but if you will please stand. I see you at the state level, at the local level, at the municipalities. If you are in the house, please stand. Please, I see you, Representative Waters. Thank you. I see you, Councilman Bill. I see you, Selena, all the way in the back. I see representation from County Executive Office as well. Again, I see you as well, ma'am. Thank you all. I see you, Representative in the front. Almost missed you, kind of short in this county. But again, welcome, family. Welcome to District 4, and this is how we take care. Oh, I see you, Justin Poole in the back, and Paul. It was waving their hands at me. But again, this is how family take care of family, everybody. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for holding and lifting each other up.
Okay, so now for the true heroes. Just Moms, I told them they have become historians, heroes, investigators. They wear many hats, but thanks be to them. And so without further ado, we're going to do a slide, but we're going to allow them to introduce themselves. I believe they don't need no introduction. I believe that this crowd knows exactly who Just Moms is. So give them a round of applause.
Thank you for that. We definitely don't look at ourselves as heroes. First of all, I'm a North County girl. I grew up in Hazelwood, affected by the creek. It's been almost 13 years since we've been fighting this fight. And it's been a long, hard fight. And it's come at a cost. But we knew from the beginning, when we first started, that we started to protect our children. And that was where the fight began. That, at least for me, when I laid my children down at bed at nighttime, that I was doing everything I could to protect them from a burning radioactive landfill. It was around the same time that I also found out that I had been exposed to Coldwater Creek. And it just all came tumbling down. It was probably in this room that I learned about what the federal government had done to us. And I couldn't believe it. That soon began a fight, not just for my children, but for all of yours, and for an entire community. And up until 2 years ago, for an entire nation. We are proud of what we're doing, and you all deserve what is due to you. Is there anyone in here that does not know the history of the Manhattan Project? Anyone that needs to know any clarification on what is going on with Coldwater Creek or any of the other sites? Great, that's what we like to see. I'm going to let Dawn talk a little bit about the presentation that we have. Before I do, I wanted to tell you that our RECA website just went live yesterday. It's full of information. It's full of resources where you can go and look for documentation for just about anything you might need. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but first I want Dawn to say a few words on her behalf.
Good evening, everybody. As the councilwoman said so beautifully,
RECA is many things, but really what it is it's the acknowledgement that yes, every person in this room that's been hurt by this creek, it was the result of the mishandling of this material by your federal government, and they are admitting that. And while it's not my place, I want to tell you that I am so, so sorry. I'm sorry for what they've done to you. And it'll never be enough. But I'm also very proud of the people in this room, because one thing about RECA and one thing that Dr. Jones said, when we went to DC, so many of you reached out with your personal stories, and we took those with us. It was your stories. It was the pictures of your loved ones that you gave us permission to share that moved the hearts of so many senators and members of Congress. So don't for a moment think that your loved ones and all the hard work, all the phone calls and emails that you sent out, they worked. They mattered, every single one, and I'm so proud of this community for stepping up and for fighting back and not taking it laying down. The Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, RECA, one of the most important things that you all need to know is that this program has already been around. And we should have always, as St. Louis, as Missouri, been included in this program. It's been around since the 1990s, and it's paid out over $2 billion to other communities across the United States that have endured the same things that you have endured. So, this is, I would say, RECA A. This is the first part of RECA now that includes Missouri. And as the mayor said, those applications are not available. You gotta know that all of us up here, for as hard as we fought for this program, we're fighting hard to get the Department of Justice to get those applications ready and to get them out. We're not, we did not put all this work into getting this program only to step aside and let them dilly-dally and take their time. So, and we are hearing that progress is being made in forming the applications, because they have to create new applications for Missouri, for us. Next slide. This is the website that we created, RECA-Missouri-Resources, in conjunction with Councilwoman Webb and Dr. Jones. Mayor Lowry has seen it as well. This resource is going to be able to tell you, and many of you have a handout probably too, that will tell you the qualifications for RECA, what zip codes you have to have lived, worked, or went to school in for 2 years, in which primary cancers you needed to have in order to qualify for this program. Next.
121. No, 121's not on though.
Okay, we're hearing that there is one zip code that has been left off. 63121 is included, and we will show you a map in a second that has that zip code so you can see. So this is what our website looks like. There's resources, there's ways for you to get to the Department of Justice's website. Again, as the mayor said, the applications are not ready yet. If you did sign in and left your email or phone number, that's critical, because that is how Dr. Jones, Councilwoman Webb, Mayor Lowry will get in touch with you the moment those applications become available. Okay, so this is the zip codes in the outline for Coldwater Creek and Westlake Landfill for North County. All of the purple that you see, or pink if you will, are zip codes impacted by Coldwater Creek. And you can actually see Coldwater Creek meandering and cutting right through them. And the two stars, the yellow star and the red star, are the two locations, the St. Louis Airport site off of McDonald Boulevard and Laddie Avenue. The
two sites that are the reason Coldwater Creek is contaminating to this day. And that's why the qualification's there. On the other side, outlined in yellow, you'll see a blue star. And those are the zip codes surrounding the West Lake landfill. Many of you probably were impacted by both. But that is the justification for the zip codes to which you have a printout for. And why they are on there like that. Next. It's important, is anybody here from Weldon Springs, St. Charles, or had anybody exposed out there? They are also covered under RECA. The two stars that you see in the middle, one is the Weldon Spring uranium feed mill plant, and the other is a disposal cell interpretive site. And one thing that I think is very important, and it's why all these zip codes are covered, you'll see the white box up there, that's Francis Howell High School. Yes, they put a uranium plant less than 1,000 feet from an existing high school. So as you can imagine, so many people that went to school there are very, very ill. Next slide. These are our downtown sites, our zip codes for downtown. And that star, that's where Mallinckrodt Chemical Works is. The other important thing, so while we worked hard for this program, like any law, there is the ability to add in more illnesses, more zip codes, if need be, by an amendment process. We're very fortunate. We will not have to go through this lengthy process that we went through this time. We will simply have to reauthorize the program. But amendments can be added to make this program reflect more. And this is where your feedback is so important moving forward. We know that many of you have autoimmune illnesses and other types of cancers that are not covered. We need, not just one, we need to hear from you. We need you to become active. We need you to tell your story, because we are going to need to push if we are going to add more in. Next. So one of the resources that the mayor spoke about getting your documents. It is not too soon for you guys to start looking at what it is that you're going to need to prove that you went to school, that you lived, or that you worked in one of these impacted zip codes. And so our website has a list of really easy to navigate sources for you to go onto and be able to either order those, or in some cases, some of them are public. But we also have and are continuing conversations with the local school districts, with the NEA, the teachers union for teachers, because if you taught at any of these schools, you are also covered. Looking at the people at Jana Elementary, you are covered. So, next. This one is very important, and I wish we didn't need this. I really wish we didn't need this. We're going to become very upset when we see people trying to take advantage of this community and of the pain and the harm that's been done to you all. So we have been working very closely with the Attorney General's office. We didn't just put work into getting this program and pushing the applications. We put work in thought, and we are still working to make sure these applications are as easy as we can make them for you to fill out, so that you do not need to seek help from an attorney. And one thing we were adamant about is that if you did need the help of an attorney, making sure that there were caps, so they couldn't just come in and take advantage of you and decide what percent to charge. There are set percents, and that is on the website. But there is a hotline number up here, and this is again on our website for you to get in touch with the Attorney General Andrew Bailey's office in the event that you are approached by a lawyer or you feel like there's something going on. It is better to let his office look it over, and they can tell you if it's genuine, if This person is really trying to help, and they can explain to you what they are and are not allowed to charge. So,
as far as, I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions about what documents you can use, what medical documents you can use. We don't know. We don't know which ones are going to be accepted. That's going to be up to the Department of Justice. But as Dawn and the Mayor has said, start gathering them anyway. Because when it's application time, it's go time. You know, if you have certain situations, you know, because there's also the survivor benefit, and you want to know if you will be the beneficiary. That's another question you're going to have to ask the Department of Justice. So, but still, continue to get your documents ready. I cannot stress that enough. It is going to be a process. So, as you can get those documents together, the better off you're going to be.
the one document that we will tell you is if you are a survivor, if you have a family member that has already passed and you think that you qualify for the survivor benefit, you are going to need what's known as a long death certificate. And you, again, on our website, it explains what that is and where to go through the state of Missouri's website to request it. A lot of people, when they think of a death certificate, they're going to want to run to the county and get a short one. Do not do that. Do not do that. You are going to need what is known as a long death certificate. And I can give you an actual example. My grandfather, his primary cancer was bladder cancer. On his short death certificate, it says he died of cardiac arrest. On the long death certificate, it states the contributing factor was primary cancer of the bladder. So you're gonna want to go there instead. And that's gonna save you a trip. We don't want you to take the time to get one and it's not what you need and have to get the next. Okay, again, this is RECA-Missouri-Resources.
Okay. So, if you guys receive, there are two different documents that are being passed out. You have one document that has all of the zip codes on there, with the exception of 63121. Right? Okay. So, we want to talk about the next steps. So, if you would like to file your claim for yourself, you will be eligible for compensation of $50,000 or reimbursement of medical expenses. Okay? And so that one is a little trickier, so we won't go down the rabbit hole with that. But you will need to provide documentation that you actually satisfied that debt. So you need to keep receipts. If you are a beneficiary of a loved one who has passed on, the compensation is for $25,000, and that goes to the next of kin. All of this compensation is tax-free. Okay? Some of the eligible diseases, as Dawn and Karen mentioned, when we started fighting for RECA, we had a heavy, extensive list. We didn't leave out anyone. But unfortunately, the way that this bill was written, it was written so that we could get a first shot at what RECA would look like. So as we continue to fight, this is only the first draft. RECA sunsets in 2027 or until the upwards of $4 billion is exhausted. So people may say, is it everybody across the whole United States applying for the same funds. No. This is specifically for Missouri and even further down for North County. All lines are clear? So we will open up the floor for brief questions, comments, or concerns. If you would please step to the mic, and we're asking that you keep your comments or your questions to a brief minimum, because the whole purpose is to hear from you tonight. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
You got to turn it on.
I have a question. So if your insurance paid for your paid your medical expenses and the money did not come out of your pocket, does that mean that you will not be compensated?
That is correct. So after your insurance is paid out, whatever that bill is, right? If there is a balance left over of $500 that you yourself had to pay or was responsible for, you would submit that $500 after you have made the payment in order to be reimbursed of the $500. But you can get the $50,000 lump sum, one-time payout. So it's two separate things. I don't mean to confuse you. So it's $50,000 one-time payment, or your medical bills reimbursed. One or the other. Yes, ma'am.
How and when will the bill be amended to add additional zip codes or additional zip codes?
So just because RECA was passed, that doesn't mean that the work stops. We are aware of many other cancers, immunodeficiencies, thyroid issues, high blood pressure, prostate cancer. We're aware of all of those other ailments, right? And so with this first piece of legislation passing, we had to condense the list down. So we still have the original list. Thank you.
My question is concerning the next of kin. How and how many? I got 9 brothers and sisters.
Yes, sir. So we here have no control. The DOJ will decide who the next of kin is, and if you have 9 living brothers and sisters, it will be split amongst all 9 siblings. If a spouse is not in place, yes, it will be divided amongst 9 siblings.
Well, I know that you mentioned that additional diagnoses may be added in amendments that are coming. Are the conditions that are listed as exclusions still eligible for amendments, or are they excluded, meaning they won't be aren't eligible for amendments as well, such as excluded Hodgkin's disease? I didn't know if that meant it's excluded.
So an amendment could amend anything, any part of the bill. And one thing about the amendments, we tried to, like Dr. Jones said, we tried to expand the list, and we were pushed back by Department of Justice with just the cancers of primary cancers that they were willing to acknowledge. So we had our list, they had theirs, and they weren't willing to move. But the amendments can be added in on their own, but they can also be added into things such as like the reconciliation bill that just passed. The NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, is due in December. You can put an amendment on that, but yes, to your point, it can amend any of it.
Perfect.
I have a question about the long death certificate. How and where can we obtain a long death certificate?
Great question.
That's a really good question. You can go through the state of Missouri. Do you want to can you pull up the link real quick? Debbie can actually maybe pull the link up actually as you're standing there and show you. Where to go?
Let me find the list. Sorry.
And here's the thing, if you happen to have a death certificate on hand, look at it and see. Some of the short ones do say what cancer they had and if they died. Because cancer is a reportable illness, the doctors have to report that. But if you don't, then the long is your best bet just because you won't have to wait, order one, and then order a different one. Does that make sense?
That does. How do we?
There'll be a link that you can click on through the state of Missouri and request it.
Well, how do we get that link?
On our website. But do you not have access to social media or internet or anything like that? Okay. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You just answered one of my good questions about the long form. My husband died 7 years ago, and his short certificate does say esophageal cancer with bone metastasis, so I'm assuming that's acceptable.
Yes.
And my other questions are, his dad passed away 32 years ago with renal cancer with bone mets. Both of them worked out there on Banshee Road by airport tarmac. And we lived in Forest our whole lives. And my dad had bladder tumors. Now, he lived in 91, but he had bladder tumors, and that was 32. I don't know how difficult that's going to be to get records. If they're asking for documentation, if anybody's lost anybody that's been gone over 30 years, that can be pretty difficult to get.
You know, we recognize that in the medical diagnosis. The death certificate, like you said, it sounds like that would be one form. But if you're looking for like work, one thing that we're working very closely with is the unions. And we're working with different, different entities that hire and work. So, let's talk afterwards and talk about maybe where he worked and see if maybe.
Well, my husband's a whole trifecta. I mean, he lived in Florissant, worked at Douglas, Boeing, he went to the Corps. I may be talking about his dad though. He's been gone 32 years, but he had renal cancer. Real healthy guy, went to his bones, and my dad had bladder. But that was so years ago. When we were working documentation, how do you do documentation? I don't think hospitals hold on to it that long. I don't know, just.
Well, the death certificate would be the documentation of the type of primary cancer. That would suffice for that.
So you don't need medical.
And it's going to depend. It's going to depend on what the death certificate says. But one thing, what? Oh, so sorry. She's asking a great question. What happens if you have somebody that has passed away decades ago and you're trying to find medical records for them? Your long death certificate is hopefully going to have that diagnosis on it, but we are working very closely with the unions and with the different employers that could have employed throughout this area for that documentation to prove that you lived, worked, or went to school. So, but we are going to be available, the Department of Justice, and there is a link on here, which is important, we didn't talk about it, to Senator Hawley's office that you can go to. These are people that can help you on a case-by-case if you need help with that. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, some of our families have really been affected. My sister and I both have cancer, and both of our parents died from cancer. Is it just the $50,000, or can you get the $50,000 and the $25,000 for losing your parents?
You can do both.
And
You can get the $50,000 for yourself, and you can also go for the survivor benefit for your parents.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm going to have multiple questions here, but I just want to make sure that you said that the DOJ is going to be deciding who the next of kin is. Would an affidavit of heirship, like during probate, help in that process, or you have no idea? Okay. I wanted to ask about what they might deny a claim for.
So we do not have current guidelines from the DOJ just yet. So it's very premature to answer what they will deny, we don't know.
Yeah, because, well, sorry, I'm noticing that, you know, their basic diagnoses on those doesn't state specific types of lung cancer or specific types of thyroid cancer, and I know that they're gonna say, oh, well, you have lung cancer, you were a smoker.
No,
So,
So it's our understanding, so for me, I have the BRCA1 gene. So there were talks early on, if you have the gene mutation, you may or may not get eligible. It does not specify. So it's any and all,
okay.
regardless.
My last is, you said that there's a deadline, 2027, and or when you reach 4+ billion. Like my father was not diagnosed until his 50s, my aunt wasn't diagnosed until her 60s. So if this closes and the money is out, and then I'm diagnosed, that's it? I'm sorry?
So the legislation sunsets, right? However, RECA has been extended numerous times. So we're hoping, right? We don't want to overpromise and under-deliver anything because our community is still hurting, right? So we plan to work to extend RECA and also add in additional zip codes and other illnesses as well, and to reauthorize the funding of the existing RECA.
Okay, so there's potential for
Absolutely.
in the future? Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I do want to make mention that we have been keeping our eyes very heavily on social media. We are aware that there are scammers that have already approached community people. We are aware that there is an application that is out there. It is not for Missouri. So if someone has contacted you to fill out an application or to go on DOJ if you've completed the application, it is not specific to Missouri. So we're asking that you wait until we get the green light. You can't fill it out first. We have to wait for the application specific for Missouri. Yes, ma'am.
So I might be a little bit repetitive, but I know it's not on there, but I have a very super rare cancer that the doctor at the Sighting Center told me was due. He even said it's an environmental thing. You can't let your parents, you won't pass it to your kids. That's what he told me when I was there. And so I was wondering will they take that into consideration? Like, do you have a doctor's note? If the doctor says it's caused by this, or if not, then I would just want to put a plug in there for maybe the next one having rare cancers. Or something if you're able to. Because you probably won't have a list sign, I guess is what I'm saying.
Trust me, we hear you.
Okay.
We hear you. And we are not done fighting. We know that it's been 22 years since the initiation of the cleanup of Coldwater Creek, and we're still fighting to this day. So just because you see this first list, that's not to tell off of y'all. And we stand with you.
Okay, so should I send you the name of the cancer stuff? Is that kind of what you're saying?
That would be great. Thank you.
Hello. I know that it's going to take a while before the actual compensation starts hitting. Did I hear somebody mention 2027? No?
No, that's when it sunsets.
Okay. My question is, if someone applies and is approved for the full $50,000 compensation, but they pass before that is issued, does that automatically transfer to your next of kin? Or would they have to start the process all over again and for the lower amount as an heir?
So we're not going to overpromise and under-deliver, and the guidelines have not been posted. We are unclear as to what would happen in the event that somebody passes away during their application process. So we would have to wait and see what comes out of the DOJ.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
One thing though, these questions are so good because we can get in front of the DOJ early with these questions you have. These are great questions so that
maybe there's something they haven't thought of, right?
I got a couple of questions. The list of cancers and diseases that are looking to be added on the amendment, can we find that list anywhere?
We don't have that list. We know what the list looks like, but there is no list that exists for the public.
Okay, maybe that'd be something to consider to put on the website, possible diseases to be added. So then we know what you already are working on and what also needs to be added to that list.
Sure.
Where do people join to get active in the process more than just these big meetings?
Absolutely. So we are actually looking for stakeholders of the community that will be willing to host town halls, pass out information, and also be able to be trained so that you can also communicate the proper language and the right direction on where to apply, who's eligible, all things of that, all of those things. And so we are putting that group together. And if you could see Stacy, raise your hand in the back. If you would like to be a community stakeholder, we would love to have you all.
Okay. So you kind of answered my last one, would be like mailings or people going to walk around trying to tell people about it. So that was my next thing.
Yeah, and so hopefully we're going to tap into community centers just as we are today. Also, we are planning to partner with the Councilwoman Shalonda Webb and all of the pastors in North County to also provide that information to their organizations as well. But it takes more than just those villages, so we're asking for the hands of the community to help us get this information out. I appreciate you as well.
How y'all doing tonight? I just want to keep everybody encouraged and let everybody know, no matter what we are going through, that we serve a great God that sits up high and look down low on all of us. No matter what we believe, there is somebody that got us at the end of all this. We've all been lied to, we've all been deceived, we've all been manipulated. This is not the first time that the government has did this, not the second, and it won't be the last time. But the problem we got to get to is accountability. For this meeting to be of this magnitude and of this significance, do we have anybody that represents the Department of Justice here in the building right now? And if not, why not? We knew this was a big, important meeting. It was going to be a great turnout. We knew there was going to be a lot of questions that needed to be answered. If we're going to get engaged and we're going to show accountability, we can't have one person here. And then another thing about the applications. Let's not forget you all, when COVID happened, they had the face mask and the nasal swab ready the very next day, did they not? And you mean to tell me that with this emergency that's been going on all these years, we can't get no applications in the building, y'all? We got to start asking these questions, y'all. You know what? The World Department of Justice. Not one member of Congress for being here right now, showing their allegiance with us. And we're talking about shareholders. What about these people that we already pay our taxes to? Why aren't they here? Not one member on the ground. Just a bunch of people saying, trust and believe, trust and believe. This is not accountability. COVID happened, face mask the next day, shut down the world the next day. People been dying 30 years, we can't get a paper application? It's not making sense. We got to clean this up.
Yes. I just want to say thank you so much for saying what so many others were thinking. And we know that Senator Hawley's office, they were supposed to be here tonight. As you all see, the things that are, come on. He's been here the whole time. Come on. But I do want to kind of clear up some of that communication about the application. And hear me guys. We fought for RECA for years. And I understand the frustration. I'm living it as well. We didn't expect for RECA to be passed 2 weeks ago. We're talking 2 weeks ago. So had we known, I would confidently say that the application would have been ready. We have
been to DC year after year after year after year, being promised that RECA was going to be passed, and it failed through several administrations. So when we talk about being ready, could we have been ready? Could we have been ready? Could we have been ready? And we hear you loud and clear. We hear you loud and clear. We hear you loud and clear. But the reality of it is that we've been fighting in silence for so long. We're fighting to get that application here. Day after day, we're on calls. We're not about talking, because we wouldn't be here today right now with the compensation if we were about talking. So I hear you, and I'm not making excuses, but I hear you, but there is a process. We all know that it had to be budgeted for. $4 billion, North County has never seen it. Never seen it. So I'm asking, as we continue to allocate, we hear you loud and clear.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Lloyd. I am with Senator Hawley's office. I'm his Director of Community Initiatives, and so I bring you greetings on his behalf. He regrets that he's not able to be here this evening. But the RECA expansion has been long overdue for the people of Missouri, those survivors of radioactive waste, and that's why it has been Senator Hawley's top legislative priority for 2 years for this to be done. And we are very excited that through his work and the courageous help of so many on this platform, as well as so many here in this room tonight, that we have achieved a legislative victory for the victims and families of radioactive waste and the survivors. And since President Trump has signed RECA into law, it's time for the survivors to begin gathering documents. This has already been referenced to prove cancer diagnoses, residency, work, and other things, as well as the zip codes where that took place. And our office is here to help. And it's going to take the DOJ a little bit of time to get all the paperwork together. And our office is in constant communication with the DOJ so that they can quickly get the application process up and running. And currently, we will follow up with constituents as soon as claims are ready. So if you have contacted our office, we have a record of that. If you have not contacted our office and would like to be on our database, certainly reach out or see me later, and I'd be happy to get you the contact information. You can feel free to look on our website for the RECA information page. There's a banner across the top, very easy to find. And folks can feel free to contact our RECA hotline, and we'll be happy to convey further information there that we have. And so as always, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We do not yet have a time frame. So I apologize. They have not given us information. I promise we are as eager as all of you are. And as I said, constant contact with the DOJ, and the Senator is urging them to make this a top priority to get this out as quickly as possible.
The hotline's up on the screen.
Oh, yes, there is. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So the hotline's there. We have someone manning that. And feel free to reach out if we can give any further service. Okay.
Hello. Thank you all for being here tonight. I have one question. It's regarding, I had a parent pass with a condition that is covered by RECA. And I have a death certificate, but I am wondering if you need any other records, or not you, if any other records are needed in addition to the death certificate, besides proof of residency.
Is it listed on
The death certificate?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm very sorry.
Thank you.
That should be sufficient, but again, as Dr. Jones said, it's very important that we don't overpromise. We think that's sufficient, but stay close. This is not the last time we're going to be having this meeting either. You know, it is our hope that the moment the Department of Justice makes this available and makes these materials and gives more, you know, clarification, that we will be doing this again.
Yeah, I'm moving to Wisconsin, so it's going to be kind of hard to do, but I will be keeping track online, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks.
Hello. I have two questions. My first question is, what about those of they who have been exposed but may not have been fortunate enough not to get sick or get a cancer? But that does not mean that this is not going in the system. And on January 2028, after it's at sunset, so my question is it invited to those of they to apply who do not have but have lived in these communities for year in and year out?
So as of right now, the way the legislation is passed, that you have to have one of those primary cancers. However, if and once refit is extended, if you become ill at that time, you will be able to apply.
So you have to have an illness.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're not compensated because you've been exposed. Being exposed is a thing all by itself. So I said, did anybody bring that to whoever's pleased together to try to include those people? I'm just wondering. Or just totally moved out altogether.
And that's why we're working so hard to get it cleaned up, to minimize the exposure to the community. But this is, again, the first step, right, at the admission that we're all being exposed to radiation, right? And so as we continue to work and as we continue to hear the concerns of the community, we will also push forward toward those concerns.
Okay. And the next thing I was concerned about, you all see where in the near future we have
They can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Do you see in the near future where you might have a brick and mortar where we might be able to go to? Because that's looking like a lot of work. All of us are not computer savvy.
No, yes. So we are actually in the process of working on a resource hub for the Pink Panthers Foundation. We are working diligently. We are hoping to have that resource hub up and working by or before the application comes out. So stay tuned for that.
Okay. And when you say that, you're speaking to where we could come in.
Yes, ma'am.
All right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, hi. Thank you for doing this tonight. My question is, I got my hopefully only but first cancer diagnosis of one of these when I was 36. I'm 45 now. I have no idea what the next 20 years is going to look like. So while I appreciate the $50,000 payout right now, that's really not going to do anything for me 10, 15 years from now if I get yet another cancer on this list. So am I signing off on, when I get that check, am I saying I agree it's over and it's settled, or what happens 10, 15 years from now?
So that is a very good question. It is our understanding, and this is where you need to talk, we're going to have this conversation. This is one that we've already written down to have with the Department of Justice and with Senator Hawley's office. But this cancer, it is the primary cancer, but we understand that some people have multiple. It is for one primary cancer is our understanding. But to your point, if you get one later, what does that mean? That's a good question, and it is literally, it has been at the top of the list. But if you can give us your contact information the moment we get an answer for that, because I have a feeling quite a few people will. But also to Dr. Jones's point, and we're not talking about it tonight, but it is a critical thing that we're working on.
The cleanup of the creek must happen swiftly. And we are working to expedite the cleanup of the creek. Senator Hawley's staff has that now as the top of their list as well. There is a way for you to get involved in that. We're going to need all of you. But yes, it makes no sense to compensate for a creek that's still out there poisoning people, right? So one thing that RECA does, and that everybody sitting up here knows, is it also applies the pressure to get that done. But to your point, please see us afterwards. We would love to keep in touch so that the moment we have that answer.
Okay, I'll hop up on that. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Again, I reiterate, thank you so much for doing this. I have two questions. One, I am one of 7 children, and of the 9 members of my family, 6 of them have cancer, have cancer, 8 different cancers. So several of them have multiple cancers. Including our parents. And my question is, with both parents qualifying for this, do the survivors get double the payment of survivors or just one?
No, so each parent is an individual. That's how that works. They're an individual person that you are a beneficiary of.
And my next question is there any place to submit some more information about the different cancers that my family has if some do not qualify for this as your amendment? And also, people have asked before what happens in the future, because I lived in Coldwater Creek for 22 years, from birth until about age 22. Then my next residency was about a mile away from Jana. My kids went to Jana. I was a school nurse at Jana for 7 years. So, there's a potential with all these things happening that we could contract cancer. So if there's any way for us to find out if the future cancers might qualify for compensation, I appreciate it.
I do know too that on Senator Hawley's website, you can do it on ours as well, and you can reach out to us, but there is a place where when you click on his website, you can fill out the different cancers that your family, because they are also keeping track of that list.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, and if it's not, you brought up a good point, if it's not on one of the cancers, you can type it in and it will log it.
Thank you all for doing this. You stated earlier it's not too early to start gathering. Okay, so in my wife's case, it's been like 35 years since she lived in one of the zip codes. What is going to be acceptable for the application for residency? And do we have to get complete medical records or just have a doctor sign off on it? What do we need to start gathering?
So whatever you currently have, I would, as the mayor said, compile. If you already have records or anything, start gathering them in a pile. But these other things, I would wait for a little bit more clarity from the Department of Justice, because we're not sure. Like proof of residency, what could that look like? Would it be easier if that individual went to school somewhere and that school record was available? I think one thing, having the school be a criteria, lived, worked, or went to school gives people different opportunities to be able to prove one or the other in those zip codes. And that's our hope, that that will catch people that have a difficult time finding records that they need.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for being here. I have a question. My question is probably a little different than the other questions that have been here. And I know that mainly people are more concerned about medical, about cancer. But what about people's property? There was a time that they had engineers or whatever coming around taking samples out of vacuum cleaners and out of their yards and stuff. And they told me that my property was contaminated. Since then, I hadn't heard everything about it. And I'm concerned about our property value, the people who live along the creek, that they're not going down, they're stagnant or going down.
Yes, and so I would love to connect after the town hall, but we are actually working on, we just had a community advisory meeting on last Thursday where we discussed the new development of over 700 homes and 600 acres of potential radiation, and it may be in that zip code. So I would love to connect with you, and then also we can follow up with it to see what the progress is for your area.
There will be a meeting. If you want more information from the agency, the federal agency that is cleaning up the radioactive waste, the United States Army Corps of Engineers, the FUSRAP program, formerly utilized Sites Remedial Action Program, you can just shorten it, the Army Corps of Engineers, is going to be hosting a meeting in a couple of weeks for next week, and it's going to be virtual, right? So see us afterwards if you want that link. We will also put it up on the website so that you guys can get on and watch and ask your questions. And then for your property, definitely see Dr. Jones. That's very important. Thank you.
Because I've had engineers coming through my yard, going down into the creek and but when you ask them what's going on, they won't give you information.
Absolutely. And we also wanted to make note that they have tried to contact many landowners so that signs could be placed along Coldwater Creek to prevent exposure to anyone that's playing, running, any activity in the creek. And they have denied the U.S. Army Corps access. So we're asking that if you are contacted or would like to make mention to have that sign, or if that sign is in the area where it can be posted, to be open to allowing them permission to put the sign along the creek. We do.
Hi, and thank you for doing this. I have two questions. One, my mother and father both passed away. Can my brother fill out forms for like my father and I fill out the forms for my mother? Or does it matter, and are we both?
One form for each person, and still will be divided for both of you all.
Okay, and the second one is, what if I was not married to someone and we lived together 15 years and he passed away from cancer last year?
Unfortunately, it's up to the DOJ to disperse at will. We don't have any knowledge of that.
Okay, even though if we had a trust and will and everything in our name to take care of us?
It's a great question. However, we don't have the ability to decide who would receive those funds, and so therefore the DOJ will make that decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, sorry. So regarding the people that are filing for themselves, if are they the ones that get to choose whether they want to go for the $50,000 or the out-of-pocket expenses?
Yes.
Okay, so they choose for themselves, and then also, now that the government is admitting that yes, there's a problem here, and we're contaminated, what does that do for our home values, even if we're not along the creek bed?
So that is a very good question, understandable, but I will say this, and one thing that we've been talking about, if any of you are familiar with Westlake Landfill, what we saw happen was the moment the federal agency in charge there, that would have been the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, stepped up and the community felt like they were doing the right thing. The property values completely rebounded, and that was before the site was even cleaned. So what it turns out, and we've seen this across the United States and other contaminated communities, is that when the confidence of the homeowners and the community members is there, that the problem is on its way to getting fixed, the stability in the home values is there. And that is one reason why, as Dr. Jones said, we encourage you all to attend that Army Corps meeting next week, but we are fighting, just as hard as we fought for this, we're fighting for them to get that creek cleaned up. They need to clean that creek up within the next 5 years. And there's no reason why that cannot happen. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for being here. I have a question. So, my mother had 3 children. The oldest one died from lymphoma at the age of 15 in 1985. My mother died in
2016. So, of course, the next of kin would be my big brother and I. How do we get our brother's information if both of our parents were deceased?
So, and I'm so sorry, you said your little brother died at 15?
No. The oldest brother of
The
all
oldest
three of
brother.
us died at 15 from lymphoma, and our mother passed in 2016 from lung cancer.
Okay, so there will be a death certificate with that information on it, and our website will show you where to go for that, but yes, you will be
Right,
able
I
to-
heard that part. I just wanted to make sure with, our parents being deceased,
Yeah,
will I still, or my brother still be able to apply for the death certificate?
yeah, you will.
Okay. That's all I need.
Dawn.
Hello, just a couple of questions. The first one is, will the slide presentation be available on social media?
Yes.
Okay. The other one is, best resource for work verification. Working in these zip codes for 30 years, going back to your employer is not, a lot of times they don't want to work with you. Is there a best place, best resource to go for work verification?
So some of our thoughts are tax returns, again, talking to the unions, talking to the school district, talking to churches, but this is where community involvement comes in. The Department of Labor also, and the Social Security Office as well, and you can credit that to Meriton Lowry.
Would you be able to share that on your social
Yes.
media as well?
Debbie, can we add those in on there? Are they on there?
Yeah, I think they're on there, but I'll.
They're already on there, okay. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Erica L. Brooks. I'm a resident of Ferguson and also I'm a member of the National Women's Political Caucus Policy Council, and that's how we made aware of this meeting tonight. And so one question I have kind of followed with one of the other people that asked a question about if they get that $50,000 levy in the final compensation that they will have. Well, the question I have is this. There are various resources as far as cancer sites in St. Louis. Is there any way that Congressman Westendale and also Senator Josh Hawley partner with those sites in order to receive cancer treatment? Because being that the funding is finalized, possibly, I'm not sure, I'm not going to say it's finalized, but that could be something where it's finalized once you get that money. Can they be able to be compensated as well to get cancer treatment through these sites that are local, according to where they live at? That's the first question. The next part I have, I know a gentleman who was talking about having an application or whatever else. Now, I know that if you had a QR code, you could have possibly, scanned that, and whatever information that they have right now, they might not be applying for the process right now, but you could have gotten the personal information that they have right now to be able to assess a number of people, or people right now who's victims of cancer. So possibly you think that Senator Hawley can put that QR code possibly on his website so that the people that are here can give their information. So as y'all going along, you can know who you're dealing with. Doing this process early, so you don't have to wait for an application. You just have the information, they can be processed, and they can go a little bit faster.
So yeah, unfortunately, it's not a mechanism on, we're taking as much information from anyone who wants to give us your information so that we can reach back out to you and give you follow-up information. But as far as the actual filing process, that is going to be each individual's responsibility to be able to take the paperwork and find the correct documentation and then send that in to the Department of Justice so that they can make the decision and send out the funds.
Right, is there any way that you all can maybe link that together with the Department of Justice to where that information can, be simultaneous and not have to do this stuff and that stuff, whatever. They can get that information in a reasonable amount of time if everybody be on the same accord at the same time.
Yeah, as wonderful as that would be, our understanding is that it is going to have to be filed directly to the Department of Justice. We're eager to give you as much information as we can, to talk to you as much as we need to give you whatever you need on our end. But the filing process is going to be up to each individual person through the Department of Justice's process.
Okay, one more thing. Now, can you possibly, or not you personally, but Senator Hawley or
Councilman Bell relay this message to them, possibly to have a QR code on their website or DOJ's website for this information so they can send it to them. And it might not be the application process, but like I said, they can know the information about those victims that are suffering from cancer right now.
Yeah, I can certainly pass that along.
Thank you.
And to your question, ma'am, so we have been watching social media. What we don't want to happen, we know that there was or still is an old application that's out there. What we don't want to happen, and why we are so hesitant with the QR code, is that their application can fall into a black hole, right? So we're just asking everybody if they could just wait patiently, because we don't want you to miss the opportunity. So if you go on and you fill in this database, and the database goes to who, and then you thought that it was supposed to go somewhere else, and it never moved. We want to prevent that from happening. So once the application goes live, we will let everybody know when it goes live. Thank you. Great question.
Hi. Regarding someone who passed away, one of the covered cancers, they were married twice. Does the wife and then the ex-wife, can they claim for just one of them?
We don't know.
Okay.
We do not know.
Everything always happens.
Yes. So as I stated before, it's up to the discretion of the DOJ.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes. You're not the only one who has asked those questions. If a stepfather, remarried, you're not the only person that asks those questions. So great question.
Hello. I have a question about this paper from leukemia. And you're saying after age 20, my daughter passed when she was 15 of leukemia. So is it an age limit on this?
So there is, and as Dr. Jones stated, the answer is there is for now.
Why?
Because
My daughter died.
I
She
know.
was 15 years old.
We do not agree with that, and I know Senator Hawley's office pushed back on that as well. We don't agree on it.
That's not right.
It's not. But it is, so as you saw Dr. Jones kind of, her soul left her body for a moment there. That is at the top of our list that we are fighting back on. There is, in the application, there is a place where the Department of Justice has some discretion. We don't know what that means, but that is one of those areas that we intend to push as hard as we can. Because, and I know, listen, my own son is so sick, and he's not covered. And my own husband is very, very sick, and he is not covered. And Karen's illnesses are not covered. And it hurts, and you're right.
Yes, it hurts.
It hurts very bad. But the leukemia one hurts us more than anything because those are little kids. Those are little babies. Those are kids.
They dumped the contamination there. Now my daughter's gone. And that's not fair.
It's not. No, but we are not stopping. It is at the top of our list of fights.
Good evening. So my father worked at Metropolitan Sewer District at the Coldwater Creek plant, and he did pass away of one of the cancers that is covered. I did reach out to get some type of letter of verification, and the HR person seems to be very willing, but I was just wondering, is that it? Is that all that we need? Because he definitely worked at the plant for many years.
Right, so we don't know exactly the documentation that is going to be needed.
Okay.
We're just asking everybody to prepare. So anything that you can possibly think of that you may or may not need, but get it anyway, is what we're recommending everybody. So that when the application goes live, you can apply right then and there with no questions asked as far as what's needed, you already have it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And we are also fighting that for the utility companies to have and to wear protective gear as they are exposed to those areas as well. That's okay.
Two more questions. Can people put their own signs up if it's their backyard and the creek is in their backyard? Can they put their own signs up? Okay. And then, can somebody check to see if heirs could pull transcripts from the IRS building downtown? Like, I know we can pull our own transcript, but can heirs go down to the IRS building and pull a transcript? Because that would help with the work situation.
That's a good question.
I'm unsure.
You know what? I don't know the answer to that, but that's one we haven't, that's a suggestion that we haven't heard, so we're writing it down. And would it help you guys if all the questions that we have, Karen's writing everything down, if we post those with, up on the website, would that help you guys, okay? And then a place, yep, like an FAQ type thing, okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. I moved into Spanish Lake in 1960 with my parents. I swam in that creek. I could fish out of that creek. I worked in forests where we had well water. Is this money, even if the insurance paid, or if the insurance paid for your surgeries and chemo?
Yes, you can choose that $50,000 even if your insurance company paid for everything.
And you're saying it's going to take a while to get this application. If it's already in other states, isn't it just a matter of copying and pasting?
I have to tell you that I don't know that it's going to take super long because of that very reason, but also we don't want to overpromise, and I cannot stress this enough. And I know this is something that we're all passionate about, but also Councilwoman Webb. We want to make sure that this application is something that you can fill out on your own, that it is not complicated, and that you guys have been through so much, all your families. This needs to be as easy as possible. It really does, and while I think you could rush an application, but if that thing is 24 pages long and just crazy, no, we want it simple. You guys deserve it to be as easy as possible and to get it done.
And then would it be, you guys are saying about signing up and you'll be able to get back up or is that on your website or Holly's or?
Both of our websites, so there is a link to Senator Hawley's website on ours, the RECA, Missouri Resources website. But everybody up here also has their own platform, and I'm sure they're going to be, the mayor can be a resource to his community, Dr. Jones, Councilman Webb, Senator Hawley, and that's what we're asking of you. If any of you have a platform, if you pastor a church, if you are a PTO member, if you have a small group, if you are Kiwanis, Rotary Club, please come see us afterwards. You could really be helpful getting this information out.
The license, the residency, protections, is what?
That would be a great option,
And then
yes.
as far as like the diagnosis, my chart, just print stuff off of it.
Yep, start doing your stuff on my turn, absolutely.
We've lived in this area for 54 years, and both of my parents have died we've lived in this area for 54 years. Both of my parents have died. My mom was first diagnosed with breast cancer in her early 40s, or late 40s actually. And came out from nowhere, and I was like, oh. And so it caused her, between her cancer treatments and radiation, caused her to live with congestive heart failure for the rest of her life. So what I'm asking is, they didn't really put that on her death certificate as a cause of death. The cancer is responsible for breast cancer because
her congestive heart failure, which is due to her having the breast cancer. So I'm just, can we claim that? And it's surely in her chart that she had the cancer, and then she was living in the rest of her life after that with the congestive heart failure.
Yeah, if you have the medical records to prove that the primary cancer was breast cancer,
Yes.
and you would be able to use that and submit that in lieu of the death certificate. Okay, so just knowing what documentation to submit one versus the other.
Yeah, and my dad died, and when he passed, he had gotten diagnosed with leukemia. And the doctor said, "Oh, this is a slow-growing one." Well, I wish it was the last one because he died within a week. Yeah, so I to same for him as well. He died in 2015.
Okay, so what was the specifics?
Well,
Just leukemia,
Well, he had other issues.
but leukemia was the
Leukemia
primary.
Yes. Yeah, it was diagnosed, and they said it was a slow-growing one, and he was gone within the week.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So-
So my sister had cancer, and it's just got it right now. We were in the same
So it's
place.
after the age of 20 then, and then, okay, so then, yeah, so then you should be covered.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. I've been trying to do some of my own research in my medical and phone directories. I'm already trying to get all this information together, like on what's gone in the past. And I got like 50 pages plus a CD. How in the world do you put that on there? And I'm sorry, you know, I use the phone a little bit.
That's a great question.
And I'm not say computer illiterate, but I'm gonna say illiterate.
So, you know what, and Dr. Jones can say, but our website, RECA.Missouri.Resources, that's the website that we're all going to use, but within that website, Dr. Jones can talk about the Pink Angels. There are hubs forming.
Right, and so if you have computer Wi-Fi challenges or scanning challenges, as you just mentioned, we would be able to scan those documents.
What about like the CDs?
No, we can have to work on that.
No, I'm just saying, I just got the CD today, and
Yes.
I got the report,
But,
and I got all the doctor's information, and I got phone directories from the county library on the year.
yeah, we'll figure it out, but I do want to note that we don't have to overload them,
I'm
right?
just saying, there's 50 pages, they wanted proof that I have thyroid, and I lived in
Right. And so-
Kensington Park, and I lived in Parsons for 22 years, and then you were talking about, and I lived there from the 60s to 77, and I worked and lived in Spanish Lake, so I kind of moved over when I was younger.
Absolutely.
So would you buy the W-2 forms, because I got the addresses there.
Yes.
And I like rented a room, stuff for like 5 years, and I lived in Delaware for like 4 years. You know what I'm saying?
Right, so the requirements are proof that you lived, worked, or went to school.
Yeah, I got my
For
W-2 form.
for 2 years, right?
Right.
And so that's all we have to prove.
So
We
that's-
don't have to provide overkill, basically, so we can see what they're gonna require, and then we will get that, help you get that
Okay,
information.
like Larson is probably the longest.
Yes.
Okay,
It just
my
two
parents,
days.
okay, my parents owned it from the 60s to 77. I only got one time of my W-2 form saying I lived there. So how do I get proof? My parents owned it, and I got the deed for the house when they sold it. What are you gonna have to do to prove that you were a kid from 70 years, for 22 years? So what are they gonna do?
Yeah, we'll go through that list afterwards.
That's my question, how do you get the school records?
I'm sorry?
How do you get basic school records?
So we're working with the districts as well, but in your case, you may or may not need all of that information.
So we can go down the list of things that are required, such as your medical records, right? And your W-2s, correct? And so that's your proof right there. So we may not need 50 pages. We may not need a deed. Right, we may not need a deed. We may not need so many of the other documents that you mentioned. We could just use minimal information.
Okay, since a lot of us are in different communities now,
Yes, ma'am.
like I used to work at Francis House School District. I used to work there as a custodian for 13 years. Okay, and I did work at South, and I worked in other schools too. So, like I said, I worked out there. So my question is, how do you, other people are down St. Charles, are they going to have other town meetings, or Richmond Heights, or St. Anne's?
So we just did Creve Coeur last Thursday, and North County this week, and we're not sure of Welding Spring as of yet, but we would also communicate that information as it comes out.
Because I know Richmond Heights is a pretty good site, gym.
Yes, ma'am.
There might be an idea of maybe going to other communities.
Yes,
where
ma'am.
they're older and can't get out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. My name is Diane Williams. I apologize for my appearance. I drove up here from Jefferson County at the last minute to stand in for some relatives that have passed away and those that are sick right now. I thank you for everything you're doing. I did want to mention a couple of things. One, we know about getting school records. I didn't hear anybody mention for past employment, Social Security.
Yes, ma'am.
And I didn't hear it back there, so that is very helpful. I just want to encourage everyone to do everything you can. Don't give up. These people up here on the stage did not give up. I fought for. My dad died in '72 from working at Welding Springs. My one question is, why is this only from 1949 and on? The Manhattan Project ended in '45. I know this is about residue and things like that. But he worked out there before '49.
He did. So this is for community and residents that were exposed. The workers have different qualifications. The earliest document we have that shows that the community was harmed and that the government knew and acknowledged that was 1949. However, if anyone were to find an earlier document, then we are happy to take that, and look, he's very eager. We would absolutely go, and that would be one of the amendments.
Well, again, I won't delay this, but I fought from 1972 when he passed away, and every part of his body had cancer, and they dealt with uranium at Welding Springs. I'm still fighting that, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, I want him to have recognition. It's not about compensation. It's the recognition. Don't give up, because you guys have come so far, much farther than our big group have done, because we were small. But anyway, thank you very much. Sorry for your time.
What's your father's name? I think we should say it out loud so we know what's his name.
Herbert Hudson.
Herbert Hudson. Herbert Hudson. Herbert Hudson.
I'm here for my family because I have both parents, an uncle, cousin, former brother-in-law, son-in-law, who all have died of cancer. So I'm collecting the data so that I can help them do this. Do you have any idea or any proof of how we go about distributing this funds? I want to make it equal for everyone. So the problem is I had 5 siblings, and 3 of them are gone. My parents both died. My dad died in '76. He worked for General Motors parts department there in Lindbergh, and he lived by the not Coldwater Creek, waste management, whatever that one was. Anyway, so do you have any idea who gets the money? How do I distribute the money?
It's a very good question. So Department of Justice will decide who gets the money. And our understanding is that this will come in the form likely of a direct deposit. It will go into different bank accounts. That it will not come as a check for you to have to split.
Great, good.
If that makes sense.
So they'll determine it and then they'll get
That's
the
right.
money.
And then they will get the information from the individuals from in.
Okay, and I'll give that to them. But only one person from each family can make the application, is that correct? I'm doing it for my parents.
Right. If they were to receive multiple applications within the family for one person, that they would probably reach out to everybody and whittle it down to one. But yeah, to your point, it's probably best if you just get with everybody and say, I'll fill it out. But that's going to be for the Department of Justice to decide what to do if they were to get multiples.
All right, that's what I need to know, so I don't have to worry about it coming to me and then I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide it. Okay, perfect, because I don't want any alone.
You got it.
Hi, good evening. My name is Isabella Griffin. Can you hear me? Oh. Got it? Okay. My name is Isabella Griffin, and I grew up in Kenlock. I lost my mother to cancer in 2001. So my question is, now, you all talk about the applications, and they'll be coming like online and stuff. Okay, with so many applications coming, will that cause the computer to crash? And why can't they send them out in letter forms? And then you talked about people sending out applications, fraudulent applications. So would that prevent the fraudulent? Because who's going to know the real applications from the? And I know you said earlier that you all would bring that out in the meeting. So still, even bringing it out in the meeting, how will we know? And then you have some people who are computer illiterate, and they won't know how to, navigate them. So how do you all plan on doing it?
So I have here 4 questions, and I hope I get to answer your mom.
Okay.
We are in the process of forming hubs, informational hubs, right? Where you can come and you can either get a paper application, right? A paper application, and we can also help you upload it into the portal, if there's a portal. We will help you get that paperwork together, make copies and things of that nature. And if you're having problems with mailing or postage or things of that nature, we will be able to assist with that as well. So the purpose for the meeting tonight is to inform people that there are scammers out there. So what better way to address it with the community so that they can look out for scammers. Also knowing that the max that someone could charge you for assisting you with helping you complete the application is 2%. So as you get that information out there, you guys are hearing that information.
They gonna charge you to do that?
Yes. Some people can charge 2% to help you fill out the application. And so we want people to know that the application is going to be friendly. Oh no, absolutely not. The hub will not charge. We're just informing you that some people, they may offer their assistance other than the Pink Angels Foundation, right? We will help the community for free. Yes. We will help the community for free. However, we want to make you aware that people may charge you for that. And so you will be able to print, scan, and have access to Wi-Fi in order to submit your application.
Okay, and I have another question.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Thank you. I was diagnosed in 1985 with some issues with my health as far as my lymph nodes and my, nodules on my lungs. And I was diagnosed in 85.
And so you said later there'll be a list of, the different things that mine had to come from that because the doctor couldn't even tell me where it came from. And so the doctor that diagnosed me in 85, I don't even know if he's still living or not, but I do have a parent lung doctor, a pulmonary specialist, and I go to see him every year. So my question is, can he write or give me the information concerning my health? Okay, that's what I needed to know. Yeah, because it's been since 1985 and by the grace of God is still here. There are some that I grew up with that is gone, including your mom and your aunt. And so that I was really, curious about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
I don't trust the government. So, I was wondering how secure is all of this web links or all of this personal information that we're going to be passing back and forth? And do they have a double or triple authentication to prove that the person is who they say they are? So based on their email address and their phone number and their mailing address, so that we can keep all the fraud out.
So for the Department of Justice stuff, you will be mailing in your stuff. You will mail in the application and the documentation that they state that they require. So there won't be opportunity that we understand to do like an electronic upload so that your email and all that stuff will not. They won't mess with that kind of stuff.
So I'm in the eyes. It's very unclear as to how the application is going to be uploaded. I believe that it could be uploaded or mailed. However, again, you're asking us questions that we have no knowledge of because they are the DOJ and it's their system, their software, their process, all of the above. And so we can't speak to that and we can't reassure you how safe because we don't know. But unfortunately, the information may have to be mailed or uploaded. Okay, because there's even Social Security information. We understand. Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right, thank you. You're welcome.
Hey. Oh, sorry, I just keep thinking about things to ask. So this might be an uncommon situation for most people, but I do have some family members that were here, were exposed, and have moved out into other
great
states.
question. Mm-hmm.
Now, some of them are in other states where they haven't been exposed by anything else, and some of them are in states where they've been exposed to whatever is in that state as well. And it's all under RECA. It's just each state has their own thing. So can they apply for both states?
No.
So what's recommended that they do? Because they're exposed in that state and in this state.
Understand your question. So we do know that, say for instance, Missourians are allotted $50,000 or compensation, but in other states it could be up to $100,000 for the whole entire household, right?
Oh, I'm not sure what their requirements are.
No,
My specific family member said it was the same requirements as this.
Follow me.
Yeah.
Follow me. So in other states, the requirements are different. And the exposure and the qualifications are different. For other states, like for Missouri, you could be exposed by living in those. Where in other states, you may have had to be a minor or a downloader. So the qualifications per state are different. So we can't tell you where and how to apply for RECA. We can't make that decision for you. But we do know that the qualifications and the guidelines for RECA are totally different state by state. Okay. So it's up to your discretion on which state they would like to file in.
Okay, so let's say they're all the same, and like all the stuff is the same. from either state?
It's
You know what I'm
not.
saying? No, I'm saying, say, they have the same requirements, the same payouts, the same everything. Let's just say.
It's not.
It's not?
It's not.
Okay.
It's
She
not.
said that they were, so I'm just going off of what I was told, so.
Understood.
Yeah, 'cause they were just recently added to.
Right.
And so that's why I was like, okay, well, how do you do that? Do you have to go to Missouri because that was the first place that you were exposed? Do you have to do the other one because that's the last place that you were exposed? Do you take the one that pays higher? Do you know how?
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so again, I'm sharing with you is that it's up to your discretion.
Okay.
You can read the guidelines, and there is a hotline for you to call and ask those questions, and then you can apply based off of what's best for you and your family.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. Our family lived about 100 yards from the creek, pretty close to Highway 367. Has anybody compiled statistics from the airport to the Missouri River of either radiation levels or cancer rates along the line?
So, Debbie, can you put up the foods wrap meeting again? If you want to know radiation levels, if you want to know about the dirt and the radioactive waste and what's being found, this is the meeting that you need to be at next week. For cancer statistics, the answer is no, because as many of you have pointed out in this room, so many people lived here and then moved away. So you couldn't capture an accurate statistic of how many people have been harmed because you couldn't capture all the people that have moved away but been harmed and diagnosed. Does that make sense?
So what about, have they tested along the length of the creek?
So the answer is it's in progress, but we would encourage you to attend because the United States Army Corps of Engineers, who is currently testing and cleaning up that creek, is going to be answering those very important questions.
All right, thank you.
If you get with me and in your email, I will send you the maps of the creek and where the whole length of the creek, and it'll show you the levels and where they've tested.
Okay, thank you.
So I just have a question, and it's probably a DOJ question, that when we talk about an authorized representative, when you read the legislation of RECA 5A, which is different than RECA, the original RECA, and different than Delaware, RECA 4. So I want to tell you thank you because this would have not ever happened had it not been for you all. So again, you all know my history, you know my position, what my career is, but I want to mention that under my legislation, the legislation I work under, which is the Energy Employees Occupational Illness Compensation Program Act, covers 381 sites. We have authorized representatives that are allowed. Does not have to be an attorney. I'm so happy you put that up because there are a lot of scammers out there. Doesn't have to be an attorney under our program. DOJ will have to put that in their guidelines, however they're putting their procedures in, how they're going to make this operational, but it's 2% and 10% under ours. Doesn't have to be an attorney. So we might want to see what DOJ comes out with because there are a lot of people, even under our program, that scam people and go way above that and they have no money left. So thank you for thinking ahead, right? So maybe we just want to see. Make sure that it's, it doesn't have to watch your phone calls. And thank you again for everything you've done. Y'all have done amazing.
Thank you. Okay, so this wraps up our meeting. We want to say thank you so much for coming out. We are asking, pleading, begging. This Foods Wrap meeting, we are asking that all 600 of you show up online next Thursday. We need you. We need you. We've heard you. That's why we moved the meetings to this space. And we heard the concerns at the municipal building. But we are stronger in numbers. Let's show Foods Wrap who we really are. That's North County strong. Thank you all.
No.
On the number.